There are a few swing characteristics that cause amateur golfers to drive the ball poorly. So what are they and how can you make them better?
If I could wave like a magic wand and cure everybody's terrible driving, what I would do straight away is flatten out everyone's backswing and flatten out their swing plane. If you think of the greatest drivers of the golf ball of all time, McIlroy, Hogan, Westwood in his prime, they all had low left arms relative to their shoulder plane. The club is quite far behind them. The benefits of this, compared to if I try to keep the club in front, my hands and the club head end up much further away from the ball, which means I'm going to generate more speed in the downswing. Generally, people with flatter swings have a more shallow angle of attack, which is going to help us hit up on it. And the other thing it does is when you get your hands behind you and further away from the ball, you're much more likely to swing the club on the inside and hit that sort of draw instead of that sort of steep chop slice that you see on the first tee in your Saturday medals. I think people are way too sort of caught up in the idea that we must keep the club out in front of us. Definitely people are way too worried about having an inside takeaway because apparently that's the worst thing in the world when obviously it isn't. And what happens is when people try and have an Instagram friendly takeaway where the club's sort of out in front and outside your hands, generally people, they don't turn very well, the club goes up, they lift their arms too much, and that will always sort of end up in some sort of weak, probably maybe not as bad as that, top necky slices that just don't go anywhere. When you watch someone like McIlroy hit the ball, he gets his hands so far behind him, he's got the biggest possible turn. And what that allows him to do is really turn in the downswing with basically no manipulation. He smashes it from the inside, hits up on it loads, and gets that high draw, which, for a relatively small man, hits the ball miles.
So why don't you show me some mistakes that people make wrong and maybe how they can work on correcting them? So I think a lot of people almost get it wrong before they've even set up to the golf ball.
What I see people get wrong is that in their spine angle. If you want to swing flatter and more around yourself, you need some what I would call right side bend. So dropping the right shoulder, because what that allows you to do basically now already is turn back flatter.
Because you see loads of people set up almost like this.
Yeah, now that...
How are you ever going to swing up on the ball? You're just going to hit down on it. Yeah. I couldn't physically swing a driver if I set up like that.
Yeah.
It feels foreign.
I think the driver setup is the same as the iron setup. When you're hitting an iron, we want that negative angle of attack. Addressing it with a fairly straight spine angle, allows you to do that. And maybe with an iron, you want the club a bit more steeper and a bit more in front of you. But with the driver, as soon as you drop that right side, you're going to turn back much flatter, and it's a lot easier to get your hands further behind you. So that would sort of be the first thing to get right. The next thing, once you've got your right side bend, as you're swinging back, you want to try and feel like the inside of your left bicep stays stuck to your rib cage. What that does is that sort of moves your hand path much more around. If you keep that connection between your left bicep and your left rib cage, it's going to allow you to reach the height.
Getting out.
Exactly. So the classic slicer, the connection between the left arm and the ribs, they lose it straight away, generally in the takeaway, and that's when you see those awful looking, where the hands are out and the club's in. The person that disconnects, the hands that go up, they don't turn very well, and then as they swing down, they generally always chop down it. If you maintain the connection, like that, then that's going to allow you to reach back behind you further. So that straight away flattens your backswing, gets your hands further behind you, gets the club deeper. Do you want to hit one trying that? It's world class.
Can I take another one?
The fans will know that was no good. It's definitely flatter, isn't it? That's why you catch the ground heavy. That's okay.
I can't.
You're not happy duffing it on camera. That's where we are. I literally topped it onto that tee.
Yeah, but you were trying to do something exaggerated. I'm trying to show what people are meant to do.
That was good, yeah. You can't. It's so hard to slice it from a flat top position unless something goes drastically wrong and for some reason your brain decides the best thing to do is to throw it over the top. People are so scared of taking it away on the inside because they've read or for some reason they understand that if the club goes inside then it's going to come down over the top, where that generally what I see teaching the average punter That doesn't really happen. When people get it deeper and flatter at the top, they'll generally just sort of retrace the path they went back on, which is more inside. People are so scared of an inside takeaway as if it's like going to lead to death. Like, there's so many people won majors with inside takeaways. It's just like a stupid thing to worry about. As you start your downswing, you want to feel like you're pushing your hands back behind you even further, which might give you a bit of a stretch in like the back of your left shoulder. Yeah, like that. And what that does again is, if it wasn't flat enough and going back, as you're pushing your hands back away, as you start to turn down, that's going to push the club even further behind you, your hands even deeper, more into that McElroy, like club's way inside position, so that as you come into impact, you can just like turn and release it without any.
It gives you that nice look of like width that you see in loads of the top pros.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're setting up, we've got the right side bend, we're turning flatter, you're maintaining the connection between your left bicep and your ribs. And then as you're turning down, you're pushing your hands away even further, more behind you, and then you're just going to like turn as hard as you can and
smack it.
You know, watch that high draw connection, bit more right side bend, big connection in the left arm, push your hands further behind you as you swing down. Cracking Moses. That is offline.
How am I doing this?
Cool. Should we just check your alignment? What are you aiming at? Should we do this properly so we don't lose any more golf balls? That was close.
That was nice.
Yeah. One alignment stick back away from the ball, directly sort of in line with the ball. I stick a shaft in the ground, whatever angle that is. Once I've set up to the ball and got my driver, I've got my right side bend. All I need to do is swing inside that on the way back and the way down. What you don't want to do, and I've seen this happen before, buy your new Paradigm driver, first swing out on the range, swing inside, come a bit over the top, smash the shaft. Like, it's an expensive drill. So maybe if you, with your old driver or a club that isn't your driver, or even better if you've got like a cover, like a head cover or like a foam noodle or something.
An alignment stick cover.
Or an alignment stick cover that you could just put on the top of it, just so that if you do collide with it, it's not a complete catastrophe. And yeah, just stand there and, you know, just think with the same feels that we just had. I'm addressed, I'm dropping my right shoulder, adding my right side bend. I've got the connection between my left arm, I'm turning, and then as I swing down, I'm pushing my hands further away. When you do that as an exercise, the club's so far away from the stick, you think, how can I ever be near it? What you feel like you're doing and what is actually happening is often two pretty different things. If I was getting someone to do this in a lesson, I would probably have them hit, 10 or 15 balls with the stick there, because it's really off-putting, but it's an excellent drill, an excellent exercise to do just for your awareness, because you only have to sort of like nick it once for you to realize how far out you actually are and how much more extreme it needs to feel to be correct. Another drill I would do that will help with that connection feeling is by using a head cover. Put a head cover, your towel, sticking this under your arm. You'll have seen people do this on TV before. I don't like it when people stuff it right sort of up at the top of their armpit, because I think you can still like lift your arm away and not maintain that connection. Put the head cover or the towel or something almost sort of in the middle of your bicep, quite low down, so like halfway down towards your elbow. What that does is it gives you a really extreme feeling. What we're trying to do is give you a feeling in your body, your hands and your arms, that you can take onto the golf course. When you're practicing, you want your feels to be really extreme if you can. Got my head cover in there, sort of not up high, more down towards my elbow. Got that left arm body connection, and that just really encourages me to swing around. This is probably not the right thing, it's a bit slippy. Better with a glove or a towel, to be honest, because it doesn't fall out quite so easily, but try and hit one. Teed up, right side bend, got my connection, and see if I can just... Still did fall out, but if we watch that swing, that was class.